Fair competition in the era of informational capitalism. Fair competition. In the era of informational capitalism, fair competition is a critical issue. The rise of technology and the Internet has transformed the way we do business, enabling companies to access vast amounts of data and to reach global audiences with unprecedented ease. However, this new era has also brought new challenges for businesses, including the need to navigate complex legal and ethical issues related to fair competition. At the heart of fair competition is the idea of a level playing field where all businesses have equal opportunities to compete and succeed. This means that businesses should not engage in unfair or anti-competitive practices, such as price fixing, collusion, or monopolistic behavior. These practices can harm consumers, limit innovation, and create barriers to entry for new competitors. One area of concern in the era of informational capitalism is the use of data and algorithms to gain a competitive advantage. Companies are increasingly using data and algorithms to analyze consumer behavior, target advertising, and optimize pricing. While these practices can be beneficial for consumers and businesses, they can also create new challenges for fair competition. For example, some companies may use data to engage in discriminatory pricing or to steer consumers towards certain products or services, which can harm competitors and limit consumer choice. Additionally, companies may engage in deceptive practices, such as fake reviews or paid endorsements, to manipulate consumer behavior and gain an unfair advantage. To address these challenges, regulators and policymakers have a critical role to play in enforcing antitrust laws and ensuring fair competition in the digital age. This may involve updating existing regulations to reflect the new realities of the digital economy or creating new regulations to address emerging challenges. Businesses also have a responsibility to ensure fair competition and to avoid engaging in anti-competitive practices. This may involve developing ethical codes of conduct, training employees on fair competition and antitrust laws, and implementing strong compliance and monitoring programs. Moreover, consumers have a critical role to play in promoting fair competition by supporting businesses that prioritize ethical conduct and avoiding businesses that engage in anti-competitive practices. By making informed purchasing decisions and supporting businesses that prioritize fair competition, consumers can help to create a more level playing field for all businesses. Digital monopolies. Digital monopolies are companies that have a dominant position in a specific market, typically due to their size, network effects, and ability to leverage vast amounts of data. These companies have been known to use their market power to stifle competition and to maintain their dominant position, and there are several dangers associated with such companies expanding into new markets. These include increased concentration of power, monopolistic pricing. They can use their market power to set prices in new markets at levels that are not competitive. Reduced privacy and security. They limit innovation. Stacking the deck. Stacking the deck is a term used to describe the practice of business manipulating the rules or structures of a market to give themselves an unfair advantage over their competitors. This can be done in various ways, such as through exclusive deals, preferential treatment, or control of critical infrastructure. The effects of companies stacking the deck can be significant and can include reducing competition, reducing consumer choice, slowing innovation, and decreasing quality of goods. Microsoft's antitrust problems. In 1998, the Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft alleging that the company had engaged in anti-competitive practices that harmed consumers and competition in the technology industry. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Netscape, a rival web browser company that had been marginalized by Microsoft's dominance in the market. The lawsuit centered on Microsoft's practice of bundling its Internet Explorer web browser with its Windows operating system, which made it difficult for other browser companies to compete. Additionally, Microsoft was accused of engaging in exclusionary agreements with computer manufacturers, which prevented them from pre-installing rival browser software on their machines. The DOJ argued that these practices violated antitrust laws and harmed competition and innovation in the technology industry. Microsoft, however, argued that its practices were legal and that the DOJ's case was based on a flawed understanding of the technology industry. Microsoft argued for an elastic, i.e., loose, interpretation of fairness in the market to justify their market dominance in the face of disruptive new technologies. The trial lasted for several years and resulted in a settlement agreement in 2001 in which Microsoft agreed to alter its business practices and allow other companies to compete more freely in the market. The settlement was criticized by some as being too lenient, and there were concerns that it did not do enough to address the root causes of Microsoft's anti-competitive practices. The Microsoft antitrust trial raised important ethical considerations related to fair competition and the role of government in regulating business practices. The case highlighted the potential dangers of monopolistic behavior in the technology industry and the need for businesses to be held accountable for anti-competitive practices that harm consumers and limit competition. Moreover, the case raised questions about the ethics of business practices that harm competition and innovation. While businesses have a responsibility to compete aggressively and pursue profits, they also have a responsibility to do so in a way that is fair and ethical and does not harm consumers or other competitors. Google's business practices. Google is one of the world's largest technology companies and has played a significant role in shaping the digital landscape. Over the years, Google has grown through a combination of innovation and acquisition, expanding into new markets and products and acquiring companies such as YouTube, Waze, and Nest. However, Google's growth has also led to concerns about its market dominance and potential anti-competitive practices. In recent years, Google has faced a number of challenges related to antitrust laws and fair competition, as regulators and competitors have raised concerns about its business practices. One area of concern has been Google's dominance in the search engine market. Google controls over 90% of the global search engine market share and has been accused of using its market power to favor its own products and services over those of its competitors. For example, Google has been accused of prioritizing its own shopping services over those of rivals in search results, which could harm competition and consumer choice. In fact, a Federal Trade Commission report concludes that Google harmed its competitors and consumers by favoring its own comparison shopping service in its search results. Additionally, Google has faced challenges related to its advertising practices. The company controls a significant share of the digital advertising market and has been accused of engaging in anti-competitive practices such as exclusivity agreements and preferential treatment for its own advertising products. Google has also faced challenges related to privacy and data protection. The company collects vast amounts of user data, which has raised concerns about privacy and the potential for misuse or unauthorized access to that data. Additionally, Google has been accused of using its control of the Android operating system to collect data on users without their consent. To address these challenges, regulators and policymakers have taken a number of actions against Google, including fines and lawsuits related to antitrust laws and privacy violations. For example, the European Union has fined Google billions of dollars for antitrust violations related to its search and advertising practices, and the company has faced numerous lawsuits and investigations related to its data practices. In response to these challenges, Google has taken steps to address concerns about its business practices, such as altering its search and advertising algorithms to prioritize competitors and implementing new data protection measures. The company has also emphasized its commitment to privacy and transparency and has taken steps to give users more control over their data.